So a student of mine who habitually plays the Pirc's defense rejected my game here in terms of me teaching the lessons that were learned. Now I'm going to review the game online and perhaps the student will pick up on this. First of all, we like to play the Austrian as white. So this is going to be instructional both for black and white. Secondly, we like to push e6, even when it seems ridiculous, because as a positional sacrifice it works great, even if you don't get your material back right away. Finally, and something that doesn't really come into this game, was we want to open the H file, and the H file never gets completely open because my opponent resigned. So, without further ado, we're going to look at this game. The person that I played was rated 2303 Blitz. That's a Blitz rating. I should turn on the engine. This is the Austrian. These are standard moves. You saw this in Spassky-Fischer, first World Championship. And I believe Spassky played pawn takes pawn. I check. I push. And depending on where he goes, he's going to get another push. So, it's suggesting knight to g8 now. We'll see. And there it is. Only a small advantage for white according to this machine. However, it also says that I need to exchange. And I push. So this is fundamentally not completely unsound, but I believe theory will probably show it to be at least a draw for black. Knight to g5. Now we see the interesting point where the e-pawn is vulnerable because of the pin on the bishop on d7. So he plays bishop takes bishop most of the time. We play knight takes pawn. So that wasn't the correct move. According to the computer, the correct move was knight takes b5. Oh wait, the computer's changed its mind. Okay, so I played the correct move. Now it says bishop takes d4, and I think if you carefully look at bishop takes d4 and I take the queen, he's got a perpetual check on f2 and e3. So he doesn't do that. Instead he comes out with the queen and instantly loses the game. So apparently it's not quite a loss. Computer's coming back to only one up. However, it liked queen takes g4 a lot better than what I played. So I don't know why I didn't play queen takes g4. It's probably a little better move. I check. He moves his king up. Now I take his knight. Now I got the threat of checking on e6 and then e7. So it says he's kind of forced to take. So instead he backs up his bishop, and now that's probably absolutely the losing move. Now I miss a nice nuance here, which is f5. Because his threat is to take the pawn attacking my pinned knight with his pawn on c5. And if I push f5, not only do I cover that pawn with my queen, but I also have a nice little situation where my pawn on f5 is covered by my knight, which is attacked. So I believe white will get a small advantage after f5, although the computer says it's a winning advantage. So just for argument's sake, we're going to push and see what happens if he takes the knight. Okay. Now the key move here is to come down to g5 and attack that e-pawn. And it says he has to come back to d8, and he doesn't have time to get it back. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a winning attack here. So let's go back to the beginning of this variation. I don't play that move. What do I play? I play queen to g5 right away. Not as good. In fact, it gives away most of my advantage. I had a nearly winning advantage. Now it says he pushes h6 right away, which he probably should have done. And, I'd plan on checking on d5. He moves knight to c6, which is a major blunder. He's trying to cover that pawn on e7. And now all I have to do is chase that knight away and have another crushing attack. So after I chase the knight away, it makes the knight somewhat invulnerable again because the e7 pawn. Now, I didn't like pushing because I was afraid he'd go to b4 with a knight. But no doubt I'm missing some huge shot here somewhere. So we're going to look at that. Let's see what happens when we push. Now it says h6 is the best move. h6, this is very complicated. Then we back up our queen to h4, rook on a to g8, knight to e6, bishop takes e6. So the knight escapes to e6 is what it boils down to. So we'll see what happens when he makes a move like this instead. We simply castle, and we don't lose our rook. Plus we have an escape square for our knight on e6. Okay, so that's the answer to that. So now let's see what really happened. I move my bishop in such a way that it threatens his queen indirectly. But with perfect play, he's going to survive. And he takes the knight instead of pushing on the pawn. So when he takes the knight, now I get the d5 in. Slightly wrong order of moves. The game's lost for black. All he's left with is pushing h6, and I simply back up, maintain the threat on the e-pawn. Now it says he's got to give me the knight. And when he doesn't give me the knight, and I simply take, he resigns. It's pretty hopeless. h6 is attacked 3 times. e6 is about to be attacked. I can castle long. There's just absolutely no hope for black in this situation. The 17 move crush. So this is the kind of thing where you almost have to memorize the variations in order to get it right. And unfortunately for black, he went into a situation where he probably needed to just force a draw. And that's the end of today's tutorial.